Yes, now on the show is Mr. Atul Chaturvedi, and we'll do a chat about the edible oil prices with him, where we have seen prices gain up in the international markets. But even more than that, the bigger news is the kind of imports that India is doing for edible oils. It was a record number for the month of July and an even bigger record for the month of August. Mr. Chaturvedi, how would you look at these numbers? I mean, India seems to be importing oil as if there's a big change in demand anticipated going forward.
My take is that Indian importers have done a massive miscalculation. In fact, they thought probably El Nino is going to hit India much earlier than what it would possibly actually happen. And they also probably thought that the supply disruption between Russia and Ukraine, Black Sea issues on sunflower would also create problems in terms of this thing, and they probably also miscalculated the increase in demand. The demand increase is definitely there, and they've imported oil as if there's no tomorrow. In fact, if you look at the numbers, last year till August, we had imported only about 14 million tons. And this year, last year for the full year, we had imported 14 million tons. And this year, up to August, we've already imported 14 million tons. And if the trend continues, then India could actually end up importing something like 16.5 to 17 million tons, which would be higher by about 17 to 18% compared to last year. And that's a big number.
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Chaturvedi, over the numbers as well, I mean, as you said, the palm oil imports clearly have been on the higher side, because this is here we saw some price correction as well. So at these current levels, at a 9-month highs in sense of palm imports, what's your sense on what is the availability? And do you see prices then coming under pressure, especially in India?
Prices, as far as India is concerned, are already under pressure. They're just not moving up, in spite of the fact that the world values may have actually gone up. Soya had actually gone up, but Indian values still remain where they were. In fact, palm imports this year, I would not be too surprised if they end up being closer to about 9 to 9.5 million tons for the full year. In any case, we already have imported between CPO and Olein something like 8.5 million tons. And that's largely because palm oil is now very competitively priced compared to soya oil. In fact, palm oil moves well in India when the differential is about $125 to $150 vis-a-vis soya. And that is the current situation. As far as availability of palm is concerned, there's absolutely no problems. And India is, in any case, sitting with massive port stocks as well. According to some calculation, the port stocks as of today may be closer to 1.4 million tons. We are looking at big numbers.
Okay, it's like oil everywhere. Okay, what is the demand then? Because as you said, the demand also has been increasing. We've spoken about the supply numbers until now, but if you compare this year's demand to the previous year, what is the percentage increase that you're looking at, and what is the trend going forward?
If we look at the import numbers, my take is that last year we were penciling in a number of anything between 23.5 to 24 million tons for the full country, for the country as a whole. This year, if our domestic production is penciled in at about 10 million tons and imports at 16.5, then we are looking at something like 26.5 million tons of consumption. We can possibly say that part of that stock will actually go into stocking. But even then, I would not be too surprised if we have a growth of almost something like 10% over last year, which is very big and which has never happened. And this has been helped by relatively low prices of edible oils and low import duties.
Right. That makes sense, Mr. Chaturvedi. Thanks a lot for joining in and giving us all those, giving us the insight into India's edible oil imports, likely to be 10% higher this year as the prices have moderated, and maybe on account of favorable regulations as well. We see how that goes about in the near future. With that, thank Manisha.